Hello and welcome back to my craft room. Due to technical issues, i.e. my technical incompetence, I managed to record this whole video without any audio at all. I can't really do it again because I was pulling random prompts for this week's pieces in my Celebrating 61 project. So I can't really do that again. It's not going to work. So I'm going to do a voiceover and make the best hash of it I can. So please do bear with me. In a minute, I'm going to be showing you how the pieces that I did last week went, and I'm going to be pulling the very last few prompts for the project. I decided I might as well pull the last few and all at the same time, and then I'll come back next week, and I should have finished all the pieces by then. I'll be ready to put it together. I don't know what I'm waffling on about now, so I'm going to cut this bit out in a minute. I'm waiting until I start. I can't remember what on earth was I going on about. Good grief, I am still going on. It makes me realise how much waffling I do, just sitting here watching myself chattering on. I can't remember what. It can't have been very important. Hopefully any second now I'm about to actually get round to showing you something. Okay, here we go. So here are you can see all the ones that I've done on the left there in that pink tray. Lovely colourful pile there. And here's the first one I'm showing you from. They're not in any particular order. They all got. So that was the YouTube symbol. really simple, and it just ended up off to one side like that. I think that's partly because I'm not drawing them on anymore. I'm just sort of stitching them straight on to the fabric. So yeah, they don't end up too accurately placed. Next one I've got there is birds. I'm putting these to one side because I've still got to do the paper patchwork version as well, so I'm putting them to one side to remind me to do those. So this next one is birds, and again I've used a colour, yeah, I think I'm just saying that here, I've picked colours using those variegated threads by Steph Francis. I've picked colours that really coordinate with the fabric, so they don't kind of show up against the fabric too well, but they do if you really look. And when I come to look at this little quilt later on, there'll be like lots of little hidden messages to remind me of all the things that I'm celebrating. There we are. This one that's a computer mouse, so that symbolises computers, PC for me. Hopefully, I think I'm just saying here, hopefully I won't look at it the wrong way up later on and think it's an acorn or an egg or something. And if somebody's looking at it in years to come, will they think, what on earth is that? What's a computer mouse? Because we won't even be using a computer mouse, probably will be. In 100 years time there'll be something completely different. Oh, this one is bread, so I've used a combination of chain stitches and some colonial knots in there for texture, and a bit of whipped running stitch to make the lines across the top of the loaf there. I love how those variegated threads, you've just got to use the one thread, but it gives you lots of variation in colour, which makes it really easy. And those threads are so lovely to use, all of them. So they're a mixture of I got a mixed bundle, and some were linen, some were cotton, some were silk, and some were rayon. So this one is art, and again I've just used coordinating colours of variegated thread there, and that's a very sort of simplistic paint palette with a brush. Well, I wasn't too happy with this one. It's quite tricky to do. So this is supposed to be an ear, hearing absolutely nothing at all. So that's my symbol for peace. It looks like I've given myself a hairy ear there as well. It's a bit weird. And this last one, I was a bit lazy with this, so I'm just showing you there the very soft lightweight interfacing that I use had come off. It's an iron-on one. It had come off this piece, and I was sewing it down in the sitting room, and I was too lazy to come upstairs and get another piece. So I thought, well, I'll just see how much difference it makes. I'll try stitching this one without the interfacing, and clearly it does make a lot of difference. You can see there the piece is kind of warped out of shape a bit. It was made it quite difficult to work on, and I wasn't able to turn the edges in neatly either. So yeah, I probably will add the interfacing now, because I think it might be difficult when I come to putting them all together if they haven't got those little pieces of interfacing. Definitely worth doing. Okay, so those are going in to join all the others now. It's such a lovely colourful pile. I can't wait to see these all together. I've really enjoyed the whole process of doing this, but I think the bit I'm going to love the most is when it's all together and I can just stitch into it, add decorative stitching to blend the colours in together. And yeah, really looking forward to that part. I think that's what I'm talking about here. But waffling on way too much. I think talking was one of the things that came out as one of my things that makes me happy. Yeah, one of my squares or rectangles is definitely talking. So again, don't know what I'm talking about now. So I think probably the gist of what I'm saying is this will be, I've got these last few pieces left. Oh yes, I know what it was. I was just explaining that for some reason I've ended up with only 7 paper prompts left, where I should have 11. So I'm going to use the last 4. I'm just going to put maybe my signature on one, the date I finished the quilt, maybe a couple of other words or just a couple of hearts or something. Here I am just pulling the last 7 prompts that I've got. It's that lovely deep kind of pink colour there, and the quote to go with it is 2 feet there to symbolise walking and dancing. Now I'm not one for exercise, but I do like to walk, especially walking in the woods or along a river, that kind of thing. And dancing, you know, I'm not a good dancer. I only tend to dance when no one's watching. But I do enjoy it, and it does lift my spirits. So I sometimes will put I will get Alexa to play me some music late at night when there's nobody else about and just dance away. I used to dance around my old cat Archie. He wasn't impressed. Waffling on again. Okay, next piece. This is a pretty one, like a kind of a pistachio and saffron. Pistachio, saffron and basil. I quite often think of colours in terms of food. You might have noticed that. And it's got a nice little self pattern in it as well. It's a very, very pretty fabric. You won't see much of the butterflies by the time I finished, probably. So next one. Oh no, that's the fabric. So the prompt for that piece is games and puzzles. I've always loved playing board games and puzzles. I like doing crosswords. I like doing any kind of word games. In our house, right back from when I was a kid, at Christmas the telly doesn't really go on. What we love to do is play games. So anything from charades and things like that to not so keen on the ones where you're just chucking a dice and it's just random, like Monopoly. Not so keen on that. I love Pictionary, Trivial Pursuit, Articulate. We've got a lovely one called About Time that kind of teaches you history as you go on. I actually met the guy who invented it, and so I've got a signed copy of the game. It's a really good game. I really enjoyed that one. Yeah. Scrabble. Okay. Another piece of fabric. That's that kind of soft sagey green colour. Oh, and coffee. Oh, can't live without my coffee. I love coffee. Oh, and I know what I was waffling on about here. I was saying that it would be one of the hardest things to give up, and I realised that years ago when I did a challenge called Pound a Day, and it was because it had somehow been determined that a pound a day is what many thousands of people living below the poverty line have to live on. So in order to raise money, and people would sponsor you, and for a whole week you would live on just £1 a day. It was only for a week, but it was hard. It was hard. I spent all of my money at the beginning of the week, bought a bag of rice, a bag of onions, and you had to cost in things like salt. I had some carrots. I had some really cheap yogurts. Yeah, it's very difficult, and but of course, you know, I had £1 a day, but I also had a warm home to live in and clean water and somewhere to cook, and it was only going to last a week. And so really, I mean, it doesn't really give you at all a taste of what it's really like to live in that kind of poverty. But you know, it was an eye-opener. And one of the worst things was walking into work in the morning smelling the coffee and not being able to have any, because you know, that £1 a day wouldn't even have paid for my coffee in the morning. So it just makes you realise. Anyway, so that's what I'm banging on about here. Good grief. Oh, I mean, I know I waffle, but it really makes me realise, sitting here watching me chattering on. Just stop, move on. Okay, so I think I've finally finished waffling on about that. Let's go on to the next piece. Oh, and ironically, this one reminds me of the Costa coffee. I think it's Costa coffee, those colours, that golden green. And I've picked out the fish, and that's because I love fish. I love to watch them. I love to eat them as well. Sorry, fish. Fish. Nothing much more to say about that, although I'm sure I'm going to find something. Okay, next one. And we've got this brightly coloured piece here with the purple and teal and yellow. And the prompt for this one is, galleries. One of my favourites is the National Portrait Gallery in London. Absolutely love it. I could spend days there. And it's something about when you look at the pictures, it's not just a physical representation of the person. It speaks about their character, their history, the relationship they had with the artist. You could say, and some of the ones that are years and years old, you know, you grow up seeing these paintings, you know, you've seen them represented so many times, but when you actually see them in the flesh, as it were, you know, it just blows me away how much, you know, the vibrancy and the light. I can remember going to a big gallery in Amsterdam. I can't remember the name of it. It's their big main gallery. Oh, I can't remember the name of it. And there were several paintings there that I knew really well from having seen them in photographs and stuff. But when you actually, I was just bowled over at the light in them and how vibrant it was, as if the artist had just put down the brush and walked away. You know, you could still, oh, I don't know. Yeah, I'm waffling on. I need to stop. Galleries, love them, love them. And so many of those places in London are actually still free to go to as well. Well, you can make a donation, but I mean, you can go in free, which is brilliant if you can get to London. Okay, putting another one, and we've got this lovely minty green. This is a strange one, this fabric. I've had it 2 or 3 times, and it always looks more washed out and more blue on the camera than it does in real life. In real life, it's a bit more vibrant and greener. Yeah, love it. It's one of my favourites, actually. So, only got a couple of prompts left now. So, friends, and I think I was saying here that I'm not sure if this symbol that I've drawn might be a bit too complicated, but I'm going to give it my best shot because I quite like how it looks. I like that it shows that, you know, a friend is someone you reach out to when you're in need, and you hold their hand when they need someone. And you know, I really appreciate my friends. I don't have masses of friends, but I have some really good friends, and they've seen me through some really hard times, and they've shared with me some really good times as well. And you know, when I was a little kid, I didn't make friends easily. We moved around a lot. I was a bit odd. I didn't have many friends really. So I really appreciate the friends I've got now. And yeah. And now, strangely enough, the very last prompt is cats. I love cats. I miss my old cat Archie. And funnily enough, I have a little project planned that I'm hoping to start this afternoon, which is all about cats. So it's very strange that this has come up as the very last prompt. And I think what I'm telling you about there is... Oh, no, first of all, I'm just going to choose which bit of fabric. I'm going to pick that last bit of dusky pink to do that. And then I think I've suddenly remembered the reason I drew the cat that way. This is because my gran When I was young, my gran could not draw for toffee. She didn't do anything artistic like that. But I can remember saying to her, draw me a picture, Granny, and she would always draw me a penny halfpenny cat. And it's called a penny halfpenny because this was, so that's a penny, halfpenny, halfpenny. So this was old money, penny and halfpenny, which, yes, I do remember. I actually remember 4 things as well. And she would draw around the penny, which was about the size of a new 10p, I guess, to make the body, and halfpenny to make the head, and then just draw on the ears and the tail. And that'd be a penny halfpenny cat. We also used to have threepenny bits, or threepence. So that was yeah, 3 pennies, and you would sometimes get a threepenny bit to go into the sweetie shop with, and you could do a lot in a sweetie shop in those days with 3 pennies. Oh. Fruit salad cheese with 4 a penny. I mean, you know. Fruit salads, blackjacks, humbugs. Oh. Anyway, penny halfpenny cats. Okay, so these are the ones I'm left with, and I think what I'm going to do with these is perhaps do my signature on one, and the date I've finished this, and then perhaps just a couple of other general words, or a couple of just heart shapes or something. I don't know what happened to those other prompts. Very strange, because I counted and double counted everything. Or now I'm just showing you the centerpiece. So that green piece was originally planned to be the centerpiece, and I'm just showing you here the chart I worked out in the first place. So that bit that says 61, but I think now I've decided that's a bit dull. I'm going to keep that for something else, and I'm going to use this piece, which I came across when I was sorting out a while back. And it's a piece that my mum was trying out in machine embroidery on. So, and it's just almost exactly the right shape and size. I just think it'd be lovely to incorporate that into this project. The colour and fabric will go beautifully with this, and Mum would have loved the idea, because Mum was Anglo-Indian and very proud of it, and she had a sari that she loved, and or a couple of saris, and she would love the whole idea of this and of using the sari silks. So, and that's it. I think I'm saying my goodbyes now, and I'm promising that I will be back this time next week with all of the pieces done, and I will be ready to put them all together and do the part I'm looking forward to most of all, which is the kind of final decorative stitching into the quilt. And I think I'm probably going to make it into a bag or something. That's where I'm leaning at the moment. Anyway, what do I find to chatter on about? So I'm going to say goodbye now on my own behalf. Thank you very much for joining me. I hope you enjoyed that, and sorry for it being a bit cobbled together. Thanks very much for sticking with me through this project. It really helps me to keep going. And okay, I think I'm really going now. Thanks very much for joining me. Bye.